Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to the another video for the mock exam for the fall semester 2015 and 16. In the last video, I have explained you the first two questions of the mock exam of this semester, that is the first semester 2015 and 2016, in which I explained about the multiple choice questions and about the how to get the codes or how to draw the outputs for the given codes. Now in this video, inshallah, I am going to explain you the next 3 or 4 questions. I believe, that is question number 3, 4, 5 and question number 6, in which it is asked you to write some classes or write some methods. Okay, that is, you have to write the Java codes for the given scenario or for the given question. Now let us start from question number 3. This question it is related to the strings and also includes some basic loopings and all. Now in this question, the question here asked is, write a Java application that does the following: read words from the user, 1 word per line, as the example below. As you see the example over here, 1 word per line. Calculate and print the percentage of words their length equal to 3. That means any word what you entered as an input, any word with the length 3 will be calculated and printed their percentage rounded to 1 decimal place, that how many percent of words with the length 3 are there in the words what you have entered as an input. And the program should stop and print the percentage of the words with the length 3 when the user enters finish. Okay, the word finish is given over here. So now we consider this as a sentinel value to stop our reading. To stop our reading the input, the word finish is considered as a sentinel value. Now here the program is asking you to keep on entering the values until the user enters finish. And while you enter the values, okay, it is asking you to check for the words with the length 3. So now you can check the words with the length 3 what you have entered. Okay, for example, let us say you have entered the string word. Let us take a string called word, which is your input, that you are going to enter the input into a word. Now if the word dot length is equal to 3, that is the length of that word is equal to 3, then you have to count it. So let us take a counter as w count or word count, okay, which is incremented every time when the word what you have entered the length is 3. Now we have to have a variable w count is of type integer because it's just a count, initially as 0 because 0 word with the length 3. Now this process and how to calculate the percentage, that it is asking you to calculate this percentage. Okay, now how to calculate percentage is by counting the number of words what you have entered, regardless of with the length 3 or 4 or any length. So we have to keep a counter that will count the total words. So let us say I take another variable. Okay, so I'll add another variable over here as t count, as a total count, which is equal to 0. Whenever I enter a word, I need to increment this total count. So it means keep whenever you enter any word, so you got to increment this t count. And the process of entering the words until you enter finish will be repeated. So here we have to take a loop in which we are going to read the values, in which we are going to read the values. Now the sample output is given here. It says first message as enter your words, in the bracket enter to finish to stop. Okay, so you should have this message initially, then after that you start reading the words and then put it in a loop. So we can put this, for example, in a while loop. While word dot length, sorry, not word dot length, while the word dot equals word dot equals of finish. Okay, now if it is not equal, okay, I'll place a not over here. If it is not equal, then you have to continue. If it is equal, then you have to break the loop. Now here you need to increment the total count plus plus, as every time you enter the word, and in the same loop you need to keep on enter the values. You need to enter the values. Okay, so here what we see is we have different variables called w count to check the word count with length 3, or let us say w count 3, for example, to word, t count for total counts, word to enter the values. Okay, we have a sentinel value called finish to check it. Okay, and every time you need to keep on entering the value until you enter finish. And finally you have to calculate the percentage. So how to calculate the percentage is the word count 3, for example, divided by the total count into 100. Okay, and of course this should be casted to double, because you need a double value which is a percentage. Okay, and later you print it by using 0.1f, percentage 0.1f, that will give you around a 2 decimal place. Now let us do this program on NetBeans. Okay, that will be helpful for you. So let us create a new application. I name it as mock exam. Okay, and later let us name your class, the main class, as for example question 3. So here you need to write a class. You got to write a class with the name question 3. So in the paper you have to write this public class question 3 and public static void main method, and then inside the main method we are going to start it. Now here there is a reading of values, which will take an object of scanner class to read the value from the keyboard. Okay. So here to take the scanner, of course we need to import the scanner class. So I'm going to import java.util.scanner. Okay, and we create an object of scanner sc is equal to, or let us say scanner in is equal to new scanner of system.in. See, every line you enter, every valuable line you enter will have the marks in your exam. Okay, so you try as much as possible to write, even if you are not getting the program, even if you are not uh, getting how to solve the program, at least you give what is the requirement of this program, what variables may require it, okay, how to initialize them, and what are the messages it may require it. Okay, so here I need a scanner object to read the values, and I need the variables to count the words. For example, the word count 3, that is to count the words to be initialized as 0 in the beginning, and also the total word count. I say TW count, total word count is equal to 0. You can name anything for the variables, it's all up to you. And also I need a string variable in which I read the value. Let us take it as a word. Okay, now the first message for the input is uh, before the user enter is to asking him to enter the values. Enter the word or the words and finish to stop. Okay, and enter finish to stop. Okay, this is my input. Let us take the this is a label message. While the user gets this message and he enters the value, let us say the user entered the value into the word is equal to en dot next. So we are going to use the next because one word per line, so it is next. Now after this, what we have to do, we have to check whether this word is finished or not. Okay, so let me check while by using the while. In the while we are checking it that word dot equals of finish, finish, finish. Now if it is not equal to, so what's the idea is here, if this is not equal, then we are going to continue, otherwise we are not going to continue, we are going to stop the loop. So if it is not equal, that's why I use a not symbol over here, not operator. So if word dot equals of finish, okay, not of it, then we are going to increment the total count, total word count plus plus, because I have all entered one word. Now we check for the word length, whether the word dot length is equal to 3. If it is equal to 3, then what we have to do, we have to increment the word count variable. So word count 3 plus plus. Okay, then after this, okay, there is some error. Okay, this W is in small, let us make it as capital, W word count. Okay, now after this you enter the next value, you have to enter the next value. So I'll take that as word dot word is equal to in dot next. Okay, this should be inside the while loop. Now this loop repeated until you enter the finish. Once you enter the finish, so its word dot equals dot finish is returns true, not of true is false. When the condition become false in the while loop, it will come out of the while loop. Now once it comes out of the while loop, what you have to do now, you have to calculate the percentage. The percentage is of course in double. Okay, so let us take a double variable, double percentage as PER, okay, which is equal to, as I told, the percentage is calculated as the W word count 3 divided by the total word count into 100. Okay, now of course this should be casted to double because it should return as the double value. Okay, so if you don't cast it, some students they make a mistake over here in the exam that they don't cast it. So So if you don't cast it, it will not be casted, because for example, let's say it is a one word in total of two words. What it will return? It should return 0.5. But if you don't cast it, it will return 0 instead of 0.5, and 0 is multiplied by 100, 0, the percentage will be 0. Whereas the percentage is 50%, 0.5. Okay, 0.5 into 100, 50. Okay, so here you need to take care of it, that you cast it from into double, the integer expression into double. And finally we are going to print it, system.out.print f, because we need to print the formatted output with a 1 decimal place. Okay, so we write the percentage of the words with length 3 is percentage 0.1 f, because 1 decimal place, comma, percentage per. So this is our program. Let us just run this program and see there is any we get this the exact output or not. So here is enter your word. For example, let's say I'll enter hello. This is not with the length 3. Then I'll enter XYZ, one word with length 3. I'll has two words. Okay, and I say hi. Okay, now I have entered 4 words. 2 of it has 3 and the other has not equal to the length, not equal to 3. So finally I enter finish. Okay, this I have to get the percentage that the length 3 is 50%. So you got the 50% over here. Now to print this as percentage, and as given as asked in the question, the format to be as a percentage, we're going to add some percentage over here so that we get the percentage. Okay, okay, we got it as 50% with a percent symbol. So this is how we're going to you may need to solve the problem. You need to solve the question and write the program. Now here the general mistakes made by the students are the first thing that they don't initialize the initial variables with the value 0. Okay, because every time when a variable is incremented, there should be an initial value for it. So for the incrementation from the beginning, the initial value is 0. So you need to initialize it to 0. Of course, you should have a scanner object that should be taken to read the values, and also the casting. Should not forget about the casting. So you think of some logics which will solve the given problem. Okay, so this is about the question number 3 from your mock exam. Now let us move to the question number 4. Now question number 4, it is not a complete class, but it is just a method. So here you are asked to write a method called very good. A method called very good that takes an array of integer values called grades. Okay, and we check whether there is a return or not. The method should calculate and return the number of very good student in the class. There is a return. What is the return? Is the number of students who has got very good grades. So it is number is an integer number. Okay, so its return type is integer. So now the method header may look something like this. Of course, you add a public static. Its return type is int because it returns a number that is an integer. The name of the method is very good. Very good. It takes one argument as an integer array. So you need to mention integer array name as grades. Name as grade. This is your method. Now inside this method you have to write the code to calculate the number of very good students. Now what is the condition to be considered the student is very good? The condition is given here. The student is very good if his grade is greater than or equal to 80 and less than 90. Okay, less than 90. So the condition is very clear here, is that if grade of I, that is any I student, because I use the index over here because it is an array. So a grade of I, any student has a grade greater than or equal to 80, greater than or equal to 80, and the grade of the same student is less than 90. If this condition is satisfied, then that student is considered as a good student, very good student. Now we will keep a counter called very good, V good plus plus. Increment the counter, V good counter plus plus. Okay, so this will be incremented. So of course you need to introduce a counter V good or very good counter int V good. I take it as V good, that is very good, is equal to 0, because you are going to increment it starting from 0. Okay, now we have to, now here we have to put this in a loop because it is an array. Of course we use a loop to process the array from the first to the last element by taking the length of the array. So we have to put a for loop over here for int I is equal to 0, I less than, the array is grade dot length, and I plus plus. And inside this loop you are going to check this condition and increment. Finally the question says that it will return the number of very good students. So it should return the very good counter. So we write it as return V good, that is very good counter, and this is your method. Okay, so to be very clear, if you want me, I can put this in the code. I will add in the same class I will add this method. Okay, so but in the answer sheet you need to write it separate as question number 4. I am just adding over here to show you in a very clear format what I wrote over there. So my method is very good method, which is asked, and it takes an argument, an array argument called grade. Now it should have a counter variable, that is int, I'll take as V good counter. Okay, initialized as 0, and then just take this should be executed in a for loop for int I is equal to 0, I less than grade dot length I plus plus, and this should be no, it should check the condition if grade of I is greater than or equal to 80 and grade of I is less than 90, then you increment the very good V good plus plus, very good counter. Finally you are going to return this counter, return V good. Okay, now this is the array. This is the method which will calculate the count of very good students based on their grades. Okay, now here in this one, the thing you have to remember is this AND operator. Here you go to use AND operator, not OR operator. If you use a OR operator, So this will become true. This condition will become true for any values. Okay, any values it will become true. So for this reason, what we have to do is we have to take care that we use an AND operator over here. This is about the question number 4. Moving ahead to question number 5. Now it's a complete program over here wherein you need to write a method and write the main method, that is the main class where you execute this method. Now let us look into this program. This program says that you need to write a method called even to 0 that has an integer argument called max. Okay, and so it is a method name even to 0 with the argument max. So let us just put a graph over here, a draft over here, that a method max with a method even to 0, even to 0, is it even to 0? Yeah, even to 0 with a one argument int max. Okay, now the method print on the screen all the even numbers from max down to 0 inclusive 1 per line. So this method will print all the even numbers. What are the even numbers we have? The even numbers are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Now this method should print all the even numbers starting from the max value what you enter. For example, you enter 10. So from 10 to 0 all the even values, that is 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 0. Okay, because 0 is inclusive, it says, so 0 is included. So it go on printing the values. Okay, so there is no return in this method. So its return type is void. Of course you add public static over here. Now what is your method should do? You should calculate the even numbers from max to 0, from this max to 0, and print it. Now we can do it by using a for loop. We start for int I is equal to max and I is greater than or equal to 0 until it reaches the 0. Okay, including 0, we are going to decrement it, I minus minus. Now how to check a number is even or not? If we mod with that number with a 2, you should get the remainder 0. So I say if I mod 2 is equal to 0, then this number is an even number. Okay, now then I'll print this number as system.out.print ln or by print this number I. Okay, this will print me the even numbers until it goes beyond 0. Okay, that is less than 0. So it print the number from max to 0. Okay, this is the method. Now moving ahead to the same question, the class should have a main method which read from the user positive integer and print all the even numbers down to 0 from that integer, invoking this method even to 0. Now you should have a main method in which you ask the user to enter a positive integer and you enter the positive integer. Your output shows the even numbers from 5 down to 0 are these numbers. Okay, so you have here the labels to be printed and you have to take an integer input. Okay, you have to read the value, so we need to write a main method for it, okay, to execute this program. Now let us do it on NetBeans. I'll take a new program, a new class over here in the same package, new Java class. I name this as question number 5. Okay, now in this one, the first thing I should have a method static void. The method name is even to 0, even to 0 int max. So it starts from int for int I is equal to max, starting from the value what entered and going down to 0. Start from max and I is greater than or equal to 0, I minus minus by decrementing. If I mod 2 is equal to 0, that means it's an even number, then we are going to print that number. System.out.println I. Okay, this is the method which will print the number. Now you should have a main method over here, public, as given in the question, public static void main of string arguments. You should have a scanner, of course. Scanner input is equal to new scanner of system.in. Now of course for this you need to import the value. Import java.util.scanner. Okay. Now moving ahead, you need to take an integer, let's say as max, and ask the user to enter the value. System.out.print enter a positive number. Then you take that, you read it by using the scanner object dot next int, and then you have a message. You need to call this method e1 to 0 to print the values. Okay, so I'll call this as e1 to 0 of max. Before this you have a message over here that is given the even numbers from 5 down to 0. So it is system.out.printf the even numbers from %d down to 0 are max. Call this method. Now let us run this one and see. Enter the positive number 5. So you got the number down to 0 is 420. 4 is over here. So what you have to do, you have to move to the next line. So you go to the next line from here. So you got the even numbers from down 5 down to 0 is 402. So this is how you do this program. Okay. Here I have used printf, okay, instead of println. Why? Because to get this number, the value, okay, from where we have to start the counting, because in the question it is given clearly over here that the number should be displayed from where the counting will go. So here, for example, if I enter 10 or 20 or any other number, that should be displayed. For example, I entered 10, so it should get 10. So this can be done by using a formatted way, that is by using percentage and including that max variable. Okay, so this is a program for question number 5. Now moving to question number 6. Question number 6. This is mainly based on the last meeting what we had about the classes. So here it will ask you to write a code of the class human according to the following specification. So it means that here you have a class called human and its specification is given. So first you add a class, write a class public class human. Now this is your class, this the heading of the class. Now moving to its specification, it has two attributes called f name and l name, that is first name and the last name. Now here to include the attributes in the class, as we have seen in meeting number 7, we use the attributes of class with private, and the first name and last name is of type string. So we use a string over here, string f name and private string l name, that is your last name. Now after this, what is the specification? It says it has a 2-argument constructor to initialize these attributes. So of course it has a 2-argument constructor to initialize these values. So we got to write the constructor, which is public, and the class name, that is human, which takes 2 arguments, that is first name string first name comma string last name. Okay, and this should initialize your first name and the last name values. Okay, now to initialize it, either you use it directly the variable names along with it, or you can call some other functions. Okay, in both the fashion it is correct. So either you can call the set first name method that we are going to write it. Okay, set first name of fn, that will set the first name, and set last name l name of ln, that we are going to write. Okay, either this or the other thing what you can do is, if you're not doing this, is you have to use the variables first name is equal to fn and last name is equal to ln. Okay, both are true. So this is your constructor over here. Moving ahead, you have what? You should have accessor and mutator methods for these attributes. Now I explained in the meeting number 7 that what are accessor and what are the mutator methods. Accessor methods are those which is used to access the values of the variables, and mutator method are those which is used to set the values of the class variables. Okay, now here to write the accessor variables, that is the getter methods, okay, also called getter methods. So we write a get values. So for example, get first name, get f name. Okay, this will not take any argument, instead it will return the first name. So it will return f name, that is the class attribute f name. So it is returning f name, which is a string variable, so its return type is a string. Of course you have here public string get f name. Okay, and this is to get the first name. Okay, in the same fashion you can write to get the last name, public string get l name, that is the last name, and this will also return l name, that is the last name. Okay, this is the accessor method or the getter method. It should have a return type and it will return the variable, okay, the value of the variable. This is about the accessor method. How about the mutator method? Mutator method will not have return, and it will take an argument and it will set the value, that is called the setter method. So it is public void, because it does not return any value, set f name, that is set first name, and it will take an argument, let us say string fn, and it will set the value f name is equal to fn, that is this value. Okay, in the same fashion the last name, L name. Set L name public void set L name of string ln, and L name is equal to ln. Okay, this will set the value. So this is the description of the class human given over here in the part A. So let us do it in NetBeans. It will be very clear for you. I'll include a new class, new Java class. The name of the class is human, and it has two variables as given in the question. Those are first name and the last name. Private string f name, private string l name. These I have included private, which makes this variable hidden, okay, which is a concept of encapsulation also. Okay, then I have the constructor which will set this value public human of string fn for first name and string ln for last name. Okay, I can either use set f name, that is to set the first name. Okay, later I'll write this method. Okay, and set fn and set l name, that is set last name of ln. Okay, this can be used. Okay, and this method should be written, or I can also use something like this, that f name, that is the variable, is equal to fn, that is the parameter. So l name is equal to ln. Both are same. Okay, both will do the same job. Now I have to write the setter and the getter methods, also called the the accessor and the mutator method. So let us write first the accessor method, public string get f name, that it will return you the first name. So I just have a return statement, return f name, and in the same fashion we need to have another variable, another method, public string get last name, that will return the last name, return l name. Okay, these are the accessor method. Now you need to write the mutator method. Those are the setter methods. So I write it here, public void, this is void because it does not return any value, set f name or string fn, that is the first name argument, and f name is equal to fn. And public void set l name of string ln, l name, that is the last name, is equal to ln. These are the setter and the getter method. So this is your class human as per the specification given. Okay, now moving ahead to the second part of this question, it says assume you have done part A correctly, which is this one. You are now you are in the main method of another class in single Java statement. Do the following. Okay, that is declare a variable h1 of type human and let refer the human whose name is f name is Saleh and whose last name is Hisham. Okay, so in one line you have to do this one, in one line. So how can we do is by calling the constructor. We have a constructor over here which will set the first name and last name of the human. Okay, so we can use this constructor to write it or to create a h1 variable. So it is asked you to create a variable h1 of type human and set its values Saleh and Hisham. So how we can do is we use a human class, human h1 is equal to new human of, we are going to call the argument constructor. The first name is Saleh, comma Hisham. So this line will do the job. Then the next is change the last name of h1 to be Rami. Now how we can change the last name? We can change it by using the setter method, that is your mutator method. So we have here set L name to change the name. Okay, so we call it by using the h1 variable of human, h1 dot set L name of the new name, what it is, Rami. Okay, there should be a semicolon over here at the end. Okay, this is done in one line. Then number 3, print the first name of h1. Okay, do not use the string letter Saleh. You should call a member of the class, that is you should call a method to print this one. So of course we have a method called get f name, that is get first name, to which will return us the name. Okay, so to print it we use a system.out.println, system.out.println the first name is h1 dot get f name. So it will get you the first name. Okay, so if you want to test this one, you can test it. So this should be have another class with the main method. So I'll add another class to test the human called test human class, in which I'll include the main. Okay, this is the test human class, in which I'll include a main method, public static void main of string arguments. Now here it is asked you to create the variable of human. Human h1 is equal to new human of the two names which is given are Saleh, comma Hisham. Okay, now after this it is asked you to change the name or change the first name of h1. So I'll call this set f name to Rami. After this it is asked you to print the first name, system.out.println the first name is h1 dot get first name. Okay, so if you run this file, you will get the first name Rami. Now in the exam, you don't need to write this everything. In the exam, what you have to write is only this three statement, because in the exam it is asked you to write these three statements. For this, for number one, the first statement, and for number two, this for this number two, change the last name. So you got to change the last name over here. The second statement, so here you got to change the last name, not the first name. H1 dot set last name of to Rami. So you got to change the write only this line, and in the third, print the first name. You got to write this only. You don't need to write the public static void main test class and everything. You just write the what is asked here. So this is about the last question in the mock exam. Now these type of questions you may get in your final exam. These type of questions, okay, which if you do practice will be easy for you, inshallah. Okay, so I hope you find this video useful, and inshallah I wish you all the best in your final exam. Thank you very much.